Now today I'll be continuing on with part 3, guys, of what happened to Australian pop stars Bardot. Really, guys, by the year 2000, I mean, the Spice Girls were sort of coming down from their 90s peak, and Popstars and Bardot really filled the void there, guys, and did something special in Australia. But Popstars was a little bit more ambitious than that, and they wanted more than the Australian marketplace. They actually wanted to take on the UK and subsequently the world.
Coming to you from a basement studio somewhere down under, it's the 80s Show with Australia's Retro Man. Well, what are we waiting for? Lights, camera, Retro Man.
G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s Show. Now today I'll be continuing on with part 3, guys, of whatever happened to Australian pop stars Bardot. So basically, guys, the girls were touring right around Australia, and I mean they even went over to the UK briefly, and their music was just everywhere. I mean, if you put the radio on, Poison was on there, or they were talking about the girls. I mean, they did many radio appearances, they were on morning TV, they were on the covers of magazines everywhere, and they were really just in the public eye. And I mean, it must have been so tough for these 5 young women, but they did so well, and their concerts were hits. And basically, guys, it came a time where one of them decided that they wanted to step away from the band, and that person was Underwood. So Katie basically went on her own and auditioned for the stage show Hair in 2001, and she won that audition. And basically that was for a pivotal female lead in a big stage show, and she was really happy that she'd won that audition, and she kind of decided, well, now's my time to step away from Bardot. I'm going to go it solo, guys, and get involved in musical theatre. So guys, she really got involved in the rehearsal process of Hair, and then amazingly, Hair didn't actually take off and become a stage show. It kind of ended in the rehearsal process. So basically, Katie stepped away, and she got involved in another band called Disco Montego, and she was the front person, and there was a lot of great electronic beats in the background, and she had a hit with Disco Montego called Beautiful, and it's actually a really cool song. So basically, guys, as it went, the 5 girls became 4, Katie left, but the girls kept soldiering on, and they had a new album in the works, and the result was this album here, Bardot, Play It Like That. And what I'll say is that this album is probably not as good as their debut album, but amazingly they got a second one done as a foursome, and it included 12 brand new tracks. I think the song that kind of went well off this one was ASAP, was really catchy. People took to that one especially, and this album's really cool as well. So what I will say, guys, is if you listen to this album, I mean, they really worked quite well as a 4-piece band. But when you reflect on these, I mean, there's the titular Play It Like That, there's I Need Somebody, Before I Let You Go, the list goes on, and they're really cool. So basically, guys, after this album came out, they did their promotions, and everything, you know, kind of seemed okay to the general public. And behind the scenes, it appears that the management team were kind of, you know, trying to launch, shall we say, Sophie Monk as a solo artist, or maybe Sophie just wanted to go off and become a solo artist in America. I guess it's always hard, guys, when you are part of a band and someone wants to kind of step away and forge a solo career. And in the case of Sophie Monk, I mean, she really was a solo performer before she went into this thing. I mean, Sophie was actually performing at Movie World on the Gold Coast doing Marilyn Monroe day in and day out. And guys, next minute she's kind of thrust in there with all these other girls, and she has to kind of share that space. And the funny thing is, guys, when Popstars actually aired, I immediately recognised Sophie because I had seen her perform as Marilyn, I think, about 3 times before that show came to be. I mean, she was a very good Marilyn. She even had that little bit of comedic timing there where she'd go up to someone and sing a song especially to them and kind of really put a smile on their face. And Sophie was doing that job for quite some time into the lead into Popstars. So she was kind of really seasoned in that regard. I mean, she was performing daily as Marilyn. So guys, in some ways I can understand that she wanted to go her own way and do her own thing once again. But later on, she actually appeared briefly as Marilyn in a movie when she went off to Hollywood. I mean, it was only a very small role, but it's amazing that she didn't do a Marilyn Monroe biopic because she really suits that part. So in some ways, guys, when it comes to bands, breakups are inevitable. People want to forge solo careers, and Sophie certainly was one of them. So guys, it was very sad for all those Bardot supporters, but sometimes things just have to go a certain way. So guys, basically Sophie Monk's exit really put an end to Bardot as we know it. The girls had to sort of make the announcement. It was a real shock for the girls because they'd lost Katie Underwood. They'd released this second album and they were still doing well on the charts. And then Sophie left. You'd probably get the full story from the girls, and basically 4 became 3. And it was announced immediately that Bardot would be no more. So it was a sad day for fans. And guys, there was plenty of them out there. I mean, this reality TV show was a juggernaut success. It launched these guys, and it launched these guys big for 2 years. There was really nothing else like Bardot in the Australian musical landscape. These girls were kind of Australia's answer to the Spice Girls. And I know some of you could be watching this and think, they were never as big as the Spice Girls. And no, they weren't globally. But in Australia, these girls really were something. And I think they really deserve that sort of comparison because they left such a dent. I mean, we're talking about musical history here down under. And these girls are fondly remembered. But basically, guys, Sophie kind of stepped away from the band and decided to make it in a solo form. And she did have a little bit of success originally. I mean, she got her own album out called Calendar Girl. That's the cover right there. And this album came with 13 tracks, one more than the Bardot albums. And just like the title suggests, inside here, guys, it came with a calendar. So that's the Sophie Monk calendar that came inside that album. And yeah, there you go. But Sophie kicked around for a while as a solo act. So guys, I'm sure some of you continued on with that Sophie Monk journey, but the other girls, I mean, it must have been really sort of heartbreaking for them. There was 3 of them left, and it was like, what do we do now? So guys, it was an absolute pleasure once again talking about the Bardot explosion, and that concludes part 3, guys. But you will see me again very soon for part 4 of whatever happened to Australian pop stars Bardot. And we'll take a look at what the girls are doing today, and also I will tell you a little bit more about Belinda Chappell's new book, The Girl in the Band. Yes, guys, I have a little bit more to say about this very interesting Australian pop group, and you will see me again very soon for that. But until then, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and keep watching the 80s show because you will never know what is going to pop up next. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Until next time, this is Retro Man, living the dream, 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang and just as intriguing as the Bardot story. Please subscribe and good night, viewers.